Okay, so we should have been looking at this spreadsheet last week. You should have already filled in all the data. What we're going to be doing is looking at how we can use the data in order to allow us to help us to make decisions. Now, the way the spreadsheet will work is that everything will be more or less affected by something else. So if I pop over to the food, you should have completed this data. Like I did mention last week, you will need an additional column, or you may like to use an additional column. So where we've got the item, which is the chicken burger, we've got the cost of it, which will be £1.50. That's how much it will cost us to bring in. We have get to in a pack, which will mean that will work out to 75 pence each. We know that 20% of our visitors will buy. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually insert a column in between the two. So I'm going to right click on E and insert one column left. And I will put down number of sales to think about a decent or a relevant name for that. So if I know that 20% of my visitors will buy, think about exactly what formula I would do, what information would I use. So I'm going to actually use equals. I can come back to my summary and take my estimate number of visitors, or I can come over to my tickets and look at my estimated sales. It should be the same figure. I'll pop over to estimated sales, and I'm simply going to multiply that. Let's head over back to food by 20%. So now, obviously, 20% of nothing is nothing. So if I come back over to tickets and I put in 1,000, now my food sales have increased to 200. So that's something which is calculated automatically. So I would want to do that for the whole column. Remember, what you can do is you can either enter that formula constantly, or you can use something called absolute cell referencing. Relative and absolute cell referencing. So as I drag that down, what that would do is that would put the same formula relatively in each cell. So we've got B2 times D2, or tickets B2 times D2, D3 times D3, etc. However, we wanted that tickets to stick to B2. So I'll simply put a dollar sign before the 2. And as I drag that down, that will simply keep that locked to B2. If I was to drag that across, I would want to put that dollar sign before the B. I've obviously have my two columns, which are for cost and my selling price. So I've selected the two, and I want to make sure that's a currency format. So anywhere I go, that would refer to that as currency. So that's more or less my food sales done. I need to think about how many I would need. So some of you may have put random numbers in there. Obviously, if I'm only selling, if I'm selling 200 burgers, there's 2 in a pack, I will need 40. Well, 40 is the wrong number. I would need 100 packs. I'm not going to enter 100. Think about how you're going to enter that. It is a simple division formula. So if you want to pause me now, give that a go. If not, I will let you know how to do that shortly. So that would be equals 200 divided by 2. Simple formula there. Now, let's say in some case, if I was to get 199 people, I obviously cannot go ahead and order 99 and a half packets. Bear in mind, I did change that number, so I will need to undo that to bring the formula back. So what I will do in this case, I will simply use a formula which is round. Okay, so what round would do is it would take this formula and it will round it up to 0 decimal places. So now if I do have 199, it will bring that to 100. Now, round would do that for me. However, if in some case, let's say it was 99.1, that would obviously round that down. Whoops, 199.1. 1. 99.1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1 But round, what we usually do is it would round it up or down based on what is closer. So what I will do is I would actually use a different function, which will actually be round up, because I always want to round that up. And that will always ensure that's rounded up. And I can simply drag that down, and that's worked that out for me. My selling price of £2.50. I will then work out my total income. Okay, which obviously that is not correct. F2 times D2. What I will actually do, but I'm pretty sure you guys can work that out. It's a simple equals, click on one cell, think about what you want to do to it, click on the second cell, and that should give you the formula. Okay. If you're unable to do that, I will give you the answer shortly. It will actually be equals £2.50 times the number of cells, which is 200, and that will be £500 income. And obviously I've autofilled that. Google has suggested to me, do they want me to autofill? And I've said yes. So that's given me all of those figures there. Now, two of the figures which I'm interested in will be my total cost and my total income, which I'm going to color the cell in to make that a little bit bolder. What I want to do is I want to add up all of these numbers. Now I've got two ways I could do that. I could do equals, and I can simply add each of these together, which will be slightly time consuming, or I can do equal sum. Now the word sum means to add up all of the numbers in these brackets. I'm going to simply select this range, close my bracket, so we'll add up all the cells from G2 to G10, and it will give me the figure there. And what I will do is I'll head back to summary, and I've got my expenditure of food and drink, and that is simply equals to whatever is in this cell. So now what we've seen is the moment I advertise more, I should be getting more people coming to the event. I will then also be, once I have more people, I will make more sales. I therefore need to buy more food. So my costs and my income will both go up. So what I want you guys to do is complete all of the formulas needed on the food table. We can also do similar for the attractions as well. If you wanted to, you can also think about splitting your 4 age ranges down. So what percentage of adults will you get? What percentage of teenagers, children, and infants? We can enter that as well. So you may get 30% infants, 20% children, etc. You can simply get that to be also calculated if you wish. And if you wanted to really sort of push your spreadsheet a little bit further, you can think about possibly having, instead of percentage of visitors to buy, you could break that down into the percentage of adults that would buy, percentage of infants, children, etc. that would buy those relevant attractions and those relevant food items. Once you've done that, what we will be doing is we will be coming back. We're going to focus on some of the tickets and advertising. So we want to get all of those formulas done correctly.